Okay, welcome to episode number 20 of the Soul Rollers podcast. My name is Jackson Gage. I'm here with William Dennis. And we're here to discuss another week of jiu-jitsu and life and self-mastery. And episode 20, man. That's pretty that's a big deal, man. To me, at least. You know what I mean? Like, we've been pretty consistent with this. And we appreciate everybody who's been listening. We appreciate everybody who's, leaving reviews or, letting us know that you've been listening. Gives us more fire to keep on putting out podcasts because, like we said before, this is what we do anyway. We talk about these conversations and shit. It's the same shit we do every single day through that app, Marco Polo, which I recommend you check out if you don't have that app because it's a good way to communicate. And so we figure we'll just share these conversations with you. And yeah, it's been a good week. Again, before we get started, leave a rating or a review. If you get a chance, go to iTunes, leave a rating and review. We would appreciate it. And so everything's been going good. How you been doing, William? I know you got back to a little bit more consistent training after getting knocked in the dome. And how's that going? I know you went back and then you weren't feeling too good, and so you've had to take it a little easier.
Yeah, I think it's part of the journey of, learning how to come back from an injury and recover fully before you go too hard and do too much, which I know is a struggle for me. So, but this was like, I've been at like 75% this week, which is a lot better than nothing. So it's a very good step forward. So I just don't have the, cardio or endurance, of course, because I had time off. And then, I just don't feel like I have that second gear. You get tired and there's this other gear you can get to, even whether it's mental mindset thing or it's just, consistent work. You can hit that next gear and just turn it up. I don't have that. It's just my head hurts and that kind of thing. So I just don't have that yet, but it's definitely been a good week. It was a good solid week because 75-80% is still really good work, so definitely getting my butt kicked this week and kind of I'm sore all over. I'm just, like I was telling you, like my neck is sore from getting I got caught in a freaking bow and arrow choke from hell. So that was good. Feels good to get in there and get your butt whooped and get back in the groove, get back in that grind.
Yeah. Are you rolling like you would normally? Or are you getting a little bit doing a little less rounds or something, or what are you doing?
I that's just not in my wheelhouse. I just don't take a round off, I know coach tells me, hey, slow it down, hey, this, that. I'm like, that's one thing I was going to talk about is, coming back from an injury. It's really like difficult for me to give myself a break. So I want to push myself harder, even though I know it's kind of making me hurt or making me not feel good. I'm like, I got to work on that because that's definitely a hindrance. It's not a help, I know we all want to be tough and we this, that, whatever, the ego, but at the end of the day, you got to recover. You got to do it right. So that's been a struggle for me, definitely. And I know you were off for a long time with an injury, and do you remember how you came back? Like, were you just gung ho ready to like jump in all the way, or did you take it slow?
Well, with my it's my shoulders and my back, which were kind of fucking up at the same time, torn labrum on one and then surgery that I had on the other. It feels like they're both fucked up. And then the lower back, hips, which sciatica got really bad. I was walking around dragging my fucking leg. It was so bad, And I think I talked about it, I couldn't get out of bed and shit. Literally couldn't fucking get out of bed, And with that, it's also, I've talked about how I just started stretching and putting in my mind that I'm going to get better and I'm going to fucking just go to, I'm not going to let this stop me from doing jiu-jitsu, but there's that fine line with jiu-jitsu, especially when you get up in your 30s, 40s, and you're doing that shit, or 50s, Sonny. When you're doing that shit so often, every night, I'm like, fuck, it doesn't matter. You get to a point where like, what is what can I tolerate to be able to train jujitsu? What kind of pain can I tolerate, to be able to get in there and train? Because for me, fuck, I like today, I had to, before we did this, I had to do my stretches, and I'm fucking getting, if it was from far away, I'd look like I was 95 trying to get down to the ground to do the stretches. I'm grabbing onto the fucking bookshelf. I got one hand posted over here. My daughter's probably in the room like, why is that groaning and shit? Oh, fuck. Oh, God damn it. Oh, that's how it sounds. And that's just me. That's daily, me getting to the ground to stretch, like getting out of bed. I can barely fucking get out of bed. You know what I mean? It hurts so bad. But when I get, I stretch and then I go fucking train. It's weird because once you get there and you warm up during the training, you can handle, it's not there as much. It's just the whole time when you're not at fucking training where you can't walk, you can't sit down, you can't turn your goddamn neck, your fingers hurt. You got bones popping out of your fucking fingers. My buddy the other day, half his tooth got chipped off. Fucking, he puts a thing on the story. His fucking half his tooth is missing, and so shout out JD out there. And I think he's somewhere in the East now. He was in Texas, but he tried a new gym and he was rolling with the professor doing drill, guard pass drill, and somehow his fucking half his tooth got knocked off. But but yeah, there's that fine line where you got to put it in your mind. Well, is this the injury I'm pushing through, or is this just the fucking normal pains that I have to, and it really builds your mental toughness as you move along through it, because you realize what you can tolerate and you realize how far you can push yourself, but you just have to be careful not to push too far. And I think most of us who train do usually probably push through our injuries and push a little bit too far because we enjoy it, you know? So,
yeah, I think it's like what you said about the addiction stuff, and that's when I do believe that term comes into play. So for me, it's like, when it comes to your brain or certain types of injuries, I think you do have to slow it down. You do have to take time off, or you do have to rest it. When it comes to like, my fingers hurt because my grips, sometimes it feels like I wear off the tips of my fingers because I'm like gripping and I'm like, dude, my fingers are just shredded, and it's just like, they're just building up the calluses on them. My knuckles, when I'm consistently training, they get really like rigid and like just calloused and stuff. It's just those gis are like sandpaper. And that stuff's just kind of like my calf has this giant bruise and knot on it. Like someone's knee just went into my calf as they were passing. We've been doing knees and different stuff. And man, someone just put their knee into my calf muscle, and it's just like a bruise. Like my calf muscle looks stronger because it's all knotted. It's not actually the muscle that's getting bigger. It's just a knot in the muscle because it's bruised. But that's just normal wear and tear, man. That's like you drive your car and your car gets beat up, right?
Yeah.
Just normal wear and tear of a human being, which I enjoy, because there's like you said, a mental toughness that comes with that. Do hard shit every day, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. And that's what I think I sent you that post from Wim Hof. And I guess my topic of this injury was I'm doing it in a way like my brain is injured. It's not like, oh, well, just put some tape on it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, and this is one thing that my professor and D, like good training partners, they'll tell you, slow down, dude, you're good. Like 50%, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, because I want to like, hey, I want to be there. I want to show up. I want to grow. I want to learn. And it's like, you got to listen to other people's perspectives at times because they know better, because you're pushing yourself too hard out of whatever judgment, ego, whatever. And so you got to have good training partners around you that'll tell you when to slow down. And that's one thing that's good about D is he gave me this app. It's a ROMWOD, ROMWOD. It's like range of motion. It's like a stretching app. So I've been checking in with the stretching every day, like you've been doing too. So that's another thing that people should be doing, is stretching every single day. And it during the stretches, it gets you to do like box breathing, and so you do breath work as well, and it helps you get through the long stretches that you do. So that's another good habit to do during the day, is stretching and breathing.
Nice.
So all these injuries take us to a better version of ourselves, or take us to some kind of learning. So it's worth it. No matter what, jiu-jitsu is making you better. Even if it's kicking your ass and getting you off the mat, it's still making you better. Yeah. And so that's a blessing. And I think that's a blessing that you've learned, and you're working into your stretches, your diet, all the different things that you've done to get back and to sustain your ability to be back. And that's what my point is today is there's a difference between like being injured and needing to take time off and do the stretching and do the breath work and slow down. And then there's that mental toughness that we're trying to cultivate in each other and in ourselves. And I think those are two different things. Don't confuse the two. Like, oh, you're injured, you're not mentally tough. It's like, well, no, my arm is falling off. What do you want me to do? Like, I can't mindset my way out of this yet. Like, you know, like I actually need to let my brain heal.
Instead of you got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And that's a couple things that came to my mind while you were talking right there is, well, for one, like you said, just the importance of the maintenance of maintaining your body and who, if you're not doing jujitsu like this, it's, you know, you don't have such a focus on maintaining your body. So jujitsu brings that focus into your life. Okay. I got to maintain, man. I got to do all these things consistently and continue to research and figure out better ways to advance myself and to, you know, stay strong and youthful and energetic. And it brings that to you. And you see guys who are fucking in their 60s, fucking doing jujitsu and they're fit as a motherfucker. You know, they look good, man. Like at the tournament I went to with my buddy, he was in like the 50s division, like 50 to 54, whatever the fuck it is. But the guys look like they'll beat your ass. You know, they look good. And then there were guys down on the other mat who looked like they were in their like late 60s. Same thing, fit freaking dudes looking like they're still freaking pulling women and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, 30 years younger than them. Yeah, I swear to God, these guys look good, man, because they figured out a way to maintain their health so they can do what they love, which is jujitsu. And so jujitsu can almost be like a fountain of youth in a way. You know, I believe I feel in better shape. I feel mentally more clear than I have in a long time. And, but it's not everybody does that. You know, if you're doing jujitsu, you got to fucking maintain, you got to do the discipline outside of the gym and the mats, you know, taking care of yourself. And like you put that post up the other day. I think Tom DeBlas, I don't know if it's DeBlas or DeBlas, whatever. He put that post up that said like, you know, something about fucking these guys, some, you know, dudes sitting at home paying for the fans only page instead of fucking taking care of themselves. And they're worried about the wrong titties, you know? And that's the truth, man. And one other thing, like you said, that came to mind when your coach and or when your professor and D were telling you to, you know, take it easy, it is the same thing, you know, like that's what my professor was doing, especially at first during rolls. I'd be rolling and shit. And and then I'd hear his voice like, Jackson, you're back. I'm like, oh, fuck. Let me slow down real quick. You know, take a deep breath, you know, and, but you appreciate that people are looking out for you. So,
yeah,
but yeah, man. And then the third thought I had on that was I had to do like a major cleaning in some of my house the last few days. And so I neglected my stretches that I do every day. And man, that's made a huge difference. So today I missed it for like 3 days. I didn't stretch. But I was training. And then today, that's why it was double fucking bad when I was trying to stretch, because you can tell the difference when you're not taking care of yourself, man. So continue to stretch. If you're listening to this, stretch every day, stretch, and that works wonders for you. So
yeah,
anyhow.
The app that D got me connected with, it actually has like a setup stretch for you every day. It walks you through it. It tells you how to breathe, all of it. It does it all for you. It has
what is it called?
Stretches. ROMWOD, like ROMWOD. It's like range of motion, something else. I don't know what
free app.
I don't know. He sent me the login that he has and everything, so he got it all set up for me. So he said,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He stayed consistent with it. And I was talking to him yesterday after we trained, and he was saying that he took the weekend off from stretching, like you said. And he said, oh man, I got so tight so quick. And I'm like, yeah, man, our body, like as soon as you stop stretching your muscles, they just like start constricting again.
Yeah.
It's all just become this tight ball. And it's like, well, no wonder we hurt all the time. What are you thinking? Stretch your freaking body. Like my wife, you know, she's always like stretching and doing yoga and doing that, you know, stuff. So, you know, you can tell the way her body moves is so different than mine when I'm like, I can't even get in bed, or I'm like, crack, 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 pop. And it's like everything, I'm like, oh, sorry, because it's all quiet at night and dark. And she hears me get in bed. It's like, snap, snap, pop. And she's like, ew, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, been a long journey to get here.
Yeah, man. Fuck that's another thing, that there's no fucking shortcut, especially if you spent your whole life not stretching. So I try to encourage my kids are, of course, kids are like super flexible, but I wish I would have stretched my whole life, because now after years of getting so tight like this and then trying to stretch, it feels like by stretching, you're just holding off the fucking, and you're holding the enemy off. All you can do is hold the motherfucker off. I'm stretching like a motherfucker, stretching all the time, and there's not much progress. All it's doing is stopping the pain a little bit. But I'm looking at I'm like, oh, I just want to be able to do the goddamn splits, and I will never be able to do the splits, but if you're able to do this, if you can get to that point, you're imagine how open your hips are and how good you would feel. Maybe it's a possibility, but that is a lot of fucking work to really unwind the tightness that's compiled over the years. So, but
I believe that's consistency. That's the secret sauce to that. I do think that you'll be able to get to, but it won't be on your time frame either, though. It may, and that's the hardest part about any change is usually you have to go through the most miserable part at the starting line. And so who wants to run that race? No, it sucks right from the beginning. Because I guarantee you, most people would be doing this hard shit if the hard part was at the end, Yeah.
You're
like, let's save that for later. I'll do the easy shit up front, and everyone wants it. But life just doesn't come at you like that.
Yeah.
Life's like, no, fuck that. You got to earn your right to step into this arena. And so you got to go through the hard shit first, swim across this river of misery. And then we'll see if you're worthy to step into the arena.
Yeah.
And
you
walk into the arena with scars and battle wounds, right? But you've earned your right to step in there.
Yeah.
But also that helps you continue on that journey once you step into the arena, because you're not going to be listening to the Nimrods that are freaking yelling at you like, oh, you suck. It's like, you know what I had to go through to get here? I'm not worried about your opinion, especially when you're sitting all nice and cozy up in the stands hiding out, and you wouldn't even cross that misery river or whatever it is,
Yeah.
So that, I do think that, we could talk for hours about stretching, I guess, but I do think that that's super valuable. The stretching I've been doing is helping, and I know it's helped you a lot. And so you want to use that to encourage others to get into that, use that app, or just do the stretching you're doing, whatever it takes. Drink your water, do your breath work. That's something I'm getting into. And we'll talk more as we go forward with this one on that. But another thing that kind of, for one, that last episode was awesome. So cool to have Steve on there. So fun. He was such a cool guy.
Yeah, good guy. Steve plays Go.
I felt like it was really cool to connect that way. And I felt like his personality came out. He was just really fun. I felt really like close to him afterwards. I'm like, dude, that was awesome. So I definitely want to get more guests on. I'm really excited about getting D on, because I want you to kind of connect with my training partner and kind of get that same feeling that I got with Steve.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good way to expose him to what we're doing here. And he added a lot of value. So really grateful for him. And
he had a blast too.
Yeah, it was fun.
He had fun, and it's good.
So one thing I took from him was about adding value to the community, right? And it kind of goes hand in hand with this injury thing, because I know when I was off for 3 weeks, it was really hard, man. I felt, like, man, I just want to be at the academy. It sucks, man. I'm injured, and I'm no good. Like, I can't be in their training, so I must not, really hard on myself. And so one thing I did was the other day, there's a guy that got injured, Kyle, and I reached out to him and just told him, hey man, miss training with you, miss rolling with you. Let's get back in there as soon as you can. Just wanted you to know that I was thinking about you, wanted to reach out. And so that was one way I kind of took from what Steve shared with me. I'm like, man, how could I add value to guys that aren't even in the academy right now? Maybe they're out injured. And so, just like it's been important for like our professor or our training partners to tell us to slow down, it's also important for us to stay connected to the guys that may be injured and out, or maybe just life got in the way of their training, reach out, say, hey, what's up, man? Haven't saw you, got to see you at the academy. Where you been? What's up? Don't let people disappear. Right. Let's keep our community tight. And I don't know what comes up for you with that, if you've had training partners drop off, or, I just noticed that I'm like, made me feel good. I'm like, dang, I listened to that after doing that episode. I'm like, man, how could I do things that are more valuable, right? How could I add more value? So
Yeah. Well,
I
good,
want
man.
to encourage people to do more.
Yeah, definitely. No, I do try to hit people up who are, and if you're listening, yeah, if you notice a training partner is not showing up, hit them up, man. Because a lot of the time I've noticed when I hit people up, hey, where you been, man? They'll be there the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but it works, So and I've been hit, and I've had people hit me up when I was out, and it makes you feel like somebody actually freaking, cares.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's super important. And there was something I was gonna add about what you were saying with Steve. Yeah, fuck, I don't remember what it was. But Steve, his salsa, he had his first salsa. This is off the topic, but he had his first class at the template in Ocean Beach. He taught his first class, and it was actually like it went well. There was a good amount of people there, and he put up his on his story. He put it up, and so that was good. I might have to go try that. I might have to go try it. So try some salsa dancing with Steve, and
that's like upgraded stretching, dude. That'll get your hips to open up, bro.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I saw his stories, man. He has good energy, man. He's a good people person. He's a good teacher. So anything he does, he's going to be successful at if you do it for the right reasons. You put out that good energy. You're there to serve people. You're there to share what you love, and people, will show up.
Yeah, and that's in anything you're doing. So, yeah, man.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was like that mindset thing that we were chatting about. I know that you follow David Goggins, Cameron Haynes, Chris Matakas. That came up recently. Love that guy. I really feel like for some reason, I remember reading, I think it was on Jiujitsu, that book he has. And you exposed me to him through that white belt book, right?
Yeah.
The five, what is it? Five strategies or tips
this
for
one right
white
here.
belt.
It's the five rules for white belts, and it's by Chris Matakas.
Super
good. I think I sent that. Did I send this one to you?
Yep.
Yeah. Good book, man.
Good book to share with each other, to encourage each other with. It made an impact on me. It was really cool because when I first went to go kind of check out the, rivalry, it helped kind of get my mindset in the right place and what I was looking for, what I was going to do, how I was going to approach it. It helped a lot. So great that he did, and it helped a lot. And then great that you reached out and sent it to me and helped me, start the journey in the right way. But I read his other book is on Jiu-Jitsu, which was really good. And then even Wim Hof, I love that guy. He's all like mindset. He does breath work. He introduced me to the cold baths, the cold plunges and stuff like that. And it's really opened me up. And even the injury stuff that we're talking about, it all kind of comes together for this week of what we're talking about. It's like the body is very capable. Like you said, once you get warmed up and you're just in there, you're engaged and you're rolling, you're not really feeling much in pain. But when you're sitting on the couch and you're not really engaged, there's no threats, there's no real resistance, everything hurts. And it's like almost like your mind goes, okay, it's safe to like be a little bitch right now.
Yeah.
It's safe to just let all this shit hurt and fucking let you start whining and moaning and groaning about how shitty how you feel, and you just don't want to get off the couch and you want to get all late. I swear that's a mindset. It's not true. Like it's just your mind taking you there. And I think that's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Is it's not the opponent you're rolling against that's really beating you. It's your own mind. The discomfort that your mind doesn't like, or the challenges your mind's facing, the exhaustion that is coming and your mind doesn't think you can keep going, or whatever, the doubts of your mind. It's the weakness of your mind that prevents you from going further than you think you can.
Oh yeah.
I really believe that. And I think the cool thing about a lot of the books that, and the way in which Chris Matakas is sharing jiu-jitsu is really focused on that and really bringing out the value, which to you and I think really stands out. It's like, he's like one of our people, it's like soul
big time.
what it's all about,
Yeah. I feel like Chris Matakas is yeah, he would definitely be one of like the black belts of Soul Rollers. You know what I mean? He's right in alignment with this brand, completely in alignment with this brand. And if you guys don't know who that is, you should check him out. Chris Matakas. He's got multiple books on jiu-jitsu and personal development, like as a mixture. And then he just like I got a couple of them here. I got one called Hero, The Path Through Jiu-Jitsu and Life. Then this one right here, The Tao of Jiu-Jitsu. I'll read the back of it real quick just so you can get an idea. The Tao of Jiu-Jitsu serves as a guide to the sincere jiu-jitsu practitioner with varying insights into skill development. The author offers several paradigm shifts to accompany students on their path. Beyond the mat, Chris Matakas discusses taking what we have learned from the art of grappling and applying these lessons to the rest of our lives. Jiu-jitsu is the vehicle with which we master ourselves. And as all roads lead to self-transcendence, we learn that jiu-jitsu is a vehicle of unrivaled efficacy. You see, and that's what I'm talking about right there. That's fucking right in alignment with what we talk about, just on a really deep level. So shout out to Chris Matakas. And he just dropped, I don't know the name of it, but he just dropped his first non-jiu-jitsu personal development book. So yeah, man, he's a black belt on the East Coast, and he's got his own academy out there and everything. So we definitely want to get him on here eventually. Let him share some of his wisdom and insights and just kind of drop knowledge, you know?
Yeah, he's definitely the epitome of like what jiu-jitsu is meant for you and I, especially since we came from like a lot of personal development, a lot of just, you know, self-discovery, self-mastery type mindset stuff, learning. And then now kind of coming across this stuff and coming across his work, I've just been blown away by it. Even that video I shared, I think yesterday, was just about Carl Jung and what he's learned from him. And man, but the amazing thing about him is he's taking personal development and explaining as if he's teaching a jiu-jitsu move. And I'm like, oh, wow. Because now he's blending two things that I love. And because he's such a high level professor, he's able to do it in a way that it's almost like he's breaking down an arm bar. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, sign me up. Like, keep teaching me more, because now you're taking personal development and teaching it to me like my professor teaches me jiu-jitsu. Yes, thank you, please. Yeah. And so that's the epitome of what we're trying to create with this podcast is amazing human beings that are blending the things they love and sharing them in a way that really connects to people. And to me, there's just the way that you instruct people in jiu-jitsu, you're teaching them how to learn. And if you can tap into that ability to teach people how to learn and encourage them to make progress daily in learning how to be a better version of themselves, what better service is there in this world? So huge shout out to him. He's having a huge impact on me. I'm excited for more of his videos, to read the rest of his books. I'm super grateful for him. And I really feel like there's some kind of connection there, at least for me. And he even reached out to me when I posted that and was super nice about it, super grateful. So you can tell he's coming from such a grateful, service-focused place. And we can't have, and that's what I said on that one podcast, we need more black belts in this world. So we need more black belts like him in this world, and the world's a better place. So yeah,
definitely.
I hope we can keep learning from him and connecting and things like that. Because this mindset thing is where I want to go, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah. Check out some of those books if you're listening, if you like reading, if you dig this vibe of the brand that we have here, there's some books that are right in alignment with it. So check those out. Chris Matakas.
I was going to build on with that, like, idea about it is like, even with, and you've done the cold plunges, so you know what the feeling of that is, like the fear or the discomfort, or like just walking to when I was doing it in my pool when it was winter, super cold. It was like 30 something degrees. So my mind would just be like, nope, not tonight. Let's not do it. Nope. Let's just wait. We'll do it another day. Like anything my brain could do to talk me out of it, it would make it go on in my head. And I'm like, dang, like this is the same thing I feel at jiu-jitsu, just a different version. But I really believe, like, you know, breath work and the things that most people kind of skip, stretching, you know, a lot of this stuff, it teaches you how to reinforce, like, strengthening your mind and mastering your mind and not letting it master you. Because man, if your mind is strong enough to kind of pull you out of making good decisions or living in compulsive, you know, stuff, like, you know, not having strong willpower to overcome that, man, you're your mind's bitch at that point. You're stuck. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about Carl Jung and his teaching and the stuff that Chris Matakas was sharing in that video. It really opens you up to this mindset and the ability to kind of get in touch with like meaning and purpose and growing, yourself, and you're mastering your mind. There's something special to that. And I think it goes hand in hand with jiu-jitsu. Like it really, like jiu-jitsu forces you to work through that stuff to allow you to grow your mindset. It's just a necessary component to grow in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And it's no wonder that you see so many people disappear, because not everybody wants to do that work, man. Not everybody wants to do that work. Yeah. And jiu-jitsu forces you to do it, to do that inner work. At least I believe it does. You're putting your ego out there daily, man.
Yeah. Here's a new experience I had just the last 2 days I trained, which were exhausting. So there's all credit to mindset. There's just because I didn't want to go yesterday. I'm like, nah, I need to take off. I'm exhausted. And I'm like, I think that means I need to go. That means I need another ass whooping because I should not be wanting to take the day off. And so I went, and what's weird is now we're kind of getting a new batch of white belts coming in, and it's really, the classes are getting packed full. And so we have some really enthusiastic guys coming in. Derek, really cool guy, super, athletic, built dude. And the only difference between him and I is time on the mat. That is it. Once you get as a brand new white belt, I might get a tap only because I just have the time in, not because I'm better or anything. It's just simply the time in. Once he gets the time in, he's going to be a beast, And so I could see that, almost putting myself in his shoes going, dang, I remember being a one stripe white belt and just be getting tossed around the mats going, okay, what do I do now? How do I add this? What do I do? And just being hungry, right? Just hungry for more knowledge, hungry for more growth, because I knew this isn't a value thing. I'm not a less valuable person because I can't win these matches or whatever. It's simply knowledge based. I can grow my knowledge, I can grow my experience, and I can grow my mindset to be, a better version of myself here and do different things on the mat. And I see that in these young guys. There's a new guy yesterday too, rolling with him. It's just inexperience and time on the mats. He's a super strong guy. It was super fun to roll with him. And the only thing I was doing was I had more time on. I knew more stuff. That's it. And I'm like, dang, this is so cool. It's the sacred ground. It's the equalizer, right?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is always welcoming to everyone. It doesn't matter your experience level. You still get to gain a ton of value every time you go.
So how'd you roll with them? I know obviously you didn't roll full on, but did you give them a little bit of what jiu-jitsu is, little taste?
I definitely didn't take it easy. I didn't. Good. I wasn't easy on them. And I'm not usually, a lot of the people, you can tell who you need to be easy on. If they're not, it's not clicking in their brain, they're not even knowing what they're doing. Yeah, you don't need to rip their neck off, no. But those guys, super strong, they're pushing it. You could tell that they were in it. They wanted to go, they wanted to learn, they're pushing themselves.
Yeah.
And when they're pushing themselves, you get a couple taps, but at the end of the day, it's you just want to feel when someone's they're not giving up. They're not going to quit. They're pushing through the difficulty. And when you roll with someone like that, you don't take it easy on them because you respect them.
Yeah.
And so I respect those guys. They were pushing themselves. They're overwhelmed because, man, I have more time on them. That's, and it's not really, it's going to be hard to overcome that, with just strength alone, which is what makes jiu-jitsu amazing. And so, but it's that smile on their face after they tap. And it's just okay, this guy's going to be a beast if he keeps it up. And that's what I told him. I'm like, Jude, keep showing up, man. And one guy was a firefighter. So I told him, oh, cool. He liked it because it didn't have the ego. He's like, oh man, this is different than work. And connecting with people from that side of the, career is all ego and, that kind of stuff. Here there's no ego and we get to really push each other to grow. But yeah, it was cool to see. And I'm not saying I'm some like slayer on the mats or anything. I'm just saying like there's a difference between like someone that's been in there, you know, a year and a half and someone's just starting. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
It was cool to see that. I think it was humbling for
And
me
that,
too.
and that's with just every level as you move along, you just realize that like, oh, I just keep putting my time in and I'm going to keep getting better. You know, I think it's good too, man. Just a reminder, like, some of these as the white belts that stay, because let them know about the podcast. You know, I think we have a lot of value in here. We started it when we're white belts. We talk about our journey, and I usually tell any of the like new white belts, like, hey, if you want to, you know, if you're enjoying this, we have a podcast that will probably give you some insight into jiu-jitsu to help you understand it a little bit more than you do right now. Because as somebody who's never done jiu-jitsu, you know, and you don't have anybody to talk to, and you don't have, you know, you don't have an understanding, just walking in. Like I walked into jiu-jitsu after 10 years of my family doing jiu-jitsu, you know, so I've been to tournaments, I've watched it, I've heard it every day, you know, so you kind of get an idea of all the intricacies of what's going on. But if you've never heard any of that and you don't know what's going on, you know, it would be nice to jump onto our podcast and listen to what's going on in our heads and, you know, some of the things that you wouldn't realize, some of the questions you have. So yeah, if you guys know it, to the listeners, if you know any new white belts, you know, and you want to keep them in jiu-jitsu, tell them to listen to our podcast, you know, and then also William, you know, let those guys know.
Yeah, I'll definitely share with both of them and get them going. Because like I said, it's about pushing each other to be better, you know, and the longer we stay in jiu-jitsu, the better we get, you know, personally and at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up too was we had talked with Steve about how he's helping, like he's drilling with white belts. And I don't usually, sometimes I will, it depends, but you know, I'm a blue belt, you know, and blue belt is still beginner level. So for me, it's like, oh, let me try, you know, I'll do it sometimes, but I also want to drill with blue belts because like I've been trying it more since Steve talked about it, just to, you know, you always try new, I'm going to try. And there's different white belts, different levels, and it's good to help people. But at the same time, you have to put in time with someone who knows what they're doing too, so you can actually fucking get better, you know? So like yesterday I was drilling with this guy, pretty new, a couple months, you know, and it's just like, we're doing these knee slice passes, you know, and one of them was from like, I'm doing the knee slice and my partner's in the De La Hiva. So instead of me doing the knee slice, I'm showing him how to do the De La Hiva. You know what I mean? So he can do the De La Hiva correctly, so I can practice the knee slice. So then I don't get any reps in the motherfucker because I'm showing this guy how to do De La Hiva, which is good because he's learning and I'm giving. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, you know, I need to fucking also drill with somebody who's going to fucking give me the, you know, give me some resistance here so I can learn it. And I don't know if that's I don't think that's being selfish. That's just reminding myself that we're blue belts. We're still beginners. We need to fucking learn too as we go along. So you kind of got to balance that out. So I asked Steve about it and he was like, well, that's what Tuesdays are for when we do our drilling, when we do our open mat. And I'm like, whatever. Go ahead. Keep drilling with a white belt, Steve. And I'll fuck your ass up. Love you, Steve.
Yeah, I think, you know, because on the other side of those couple of rules where, yeah, sure, I had a little bit more, you know, I got, you know, a couple taps here and there, whatever. I was getting my ass whooped, you know, by the blue belts and the other guy, you know, other guys I was rolling with. So, and like I said, my neck is still sore from that bow and arrow, and gotten a freaking wrist lock. That Ryan, I trained with him, he's so good, and I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to get tapped 7 times, but I'm just not going to let him get a wrist lock. And then sure enough, I'm like, no, desperately trying to not let him get it. And he still got it. I'm like, dang it. Like, I'm like, all right, there's levels. Like, keep going. You know, he's a brown belt. He's so good. He's so strong.
Oh yeah. Brown belts suck, bro. I mean, brown belts don't suck, but rolling with brown belts sucks. God damn it. At least in my experience, you know, it just sucks. You just get fucked up left and right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as far as rolling, that's a different story. I like rolling with white belts. You know, I don't mind, you know, that's a different story than drilling. You know, drilling, totally different. When you're drilling and you got to show the guy how to play the part of the person just so you can do the move is different than when which is fine. You got to do it sometimes. But with rolling with a white belt, especially someone who's trying to fight you, that's fun, man, because then you can work your shit. You know, I feel like then you can as a blue belt, you can really get some, you're not going to stalemate as much. You're going to be able to like hit some sweeps and some submissions that you might not hit against other blue belts, you know, to see what works. So that's a different story.
Yeah, I think the rolling, and that's what I was talking about. I was rolling with these guys. You know, we do a little bit of drilling in the beginning, and that's another kudos to my professor. Jeez, man, I was trying to show him the move, like how to work through it, and I'm like, man, I sound like an idiot trying to explain it. How the hell does my professor explain it so well? Like he'll show it so quickly and explain it so clearly. There's so much clarity in his explanation of the movements, and I'm like, all right, like another reason why black belts are just they're really amazing. Like there's a lot of value they add, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was listening to myself and I kept looking over at my professor like, man, I don't sound nothing like him. Like I'm probably confusing the kid more than I'm helping him.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I need to shut up and just leave him alone. I'm trying to help because I feel like, man, I remember being that so confused. I'm trying to help him, but I'm like, he's doing the opposite of everything I'm telling him. I'm like, dude, this is all my fault. I'm an idiot.
And then like, that's also a reflection of like, well, for one, it's just time on the mat, you know, but it's also Albert Einstein has that quote, you know, if you can't teach it to a kindergartner, then you don't know it yourself well enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the truth. As soon as, you know, because I feel the same shit. I like, oh, I know how to do this move. And then you start explaining it and the dude you're explaining it to is just all confused and shit, you know. Unless it's something I'm sure if you were showing them some shit you do from closed guard all the time, you could explain it a lot better, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, even that, it's like, I know, and you could speak to this with half guard. Like there's some of the stuff that I instinctually go to, like, I feel good about it. Like I've just done it enough where it's like automatic for me. So I try to share that. Like I always try to share like my little secrets. Like if I'm controlling your wrist and I get my knee up towards your shoulder, I'm going to sneak my leg over and I'm going to get you in a triangle, you know? And so every time I do that, even if I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing, watch my knee. Because the upper belts, they always snag my ankle and they pull it away. Like they don't let, you know, I'll never get that on professor or something like that. I'm like, he always captures, like he knows what I'm going to do before I even think about doing it. I'm like, dang, how does he already have my ankle? That's not fair. He already knows. Yeah. But like a white belt or someone that, you know, hasn't rolled with me, I always tell him like, look, that's what I'm trying to do. Because then the guys that are like growing, they'll be snagging that. They won't let me get it. And I'm like, now how do I get it? Because I gave them my secret, right? And
it makes you better.
Makes me better. I'm like, I can't get away with that anymore. I can't get away with that. I'm always trying to find ways of like, you get that too often. You need to tell them so that they can always catch you in it. And that's one thing that's good about D is he's such a good training partner. He knows me pretty well where I get no breaks. I get no slip ups, you know? Yeah. And so even Chet, I was rolling with him the other day. I got him in a triangle, but damn, it was so impossible to finish him. So it was that next level. Like now that I went to blue belt, I'm getting some good ass whoopings and I'm like, damn, like, there is levels to this. That white belt, they were giving me some leeway, you know? Yeah. I'm getting mollywopped, you know, here and there.
But you start getting better. That's when you start even leveling up even more and figuring out jiu-jitsu even more. And there's a lot of people who won't share what they're fucking good at. You know, they won't share it, but I figure it's better to share it because like Sonny had that tournament. And so we drilled beforehand. And I showed him this sweep that I do from half guard because he likes to play half guard, where they do I forget the name of that pass, 203, 10 something. It's the weave pass that they do through the knee shield. You know, they do the weave pass and smash the leg down. And I have this dude. It's rare someone does that shit on me now. Everyone used to do that fucking pass, dude. You're not passing me with that shit. At least fucking blue belts. But you know you grab that. You grab the hand that's grabbing. Anyhow, you break the grip and there's a sweep you do. And I showed Sonny and I hit that motherfucker on everybody. You know what I mean? I even hit that on a couple purple belts and shit. And not bragging, but if you do something enough, you're going to get good at it. You're going to hit it, you know? And so I showed Sonny and then I rolled with him last night. You know, this was a week ago and I tried to do that sweep and he's all, no, nuh-uh. Like, you motherfucker. And so I thought about it later. I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have showed him that. But then, you know, I shouldn't have showed him because we got in like a really good fucking fight. Like we're going at it. And, but then I thought, well, and now my mind is like, okay, when I get that grip and the sweep doesn't work, what else can I do from that position? And so now my fucking half guard is going to level up even more because I told somebody how I do some shit, you know? And so I think it's good to give up your secrets because they're going to defend and you're going to figure out new ways around it and just bolster up your whole game, you know?
Yeah, it only makes you stronger. It only makes you better, you know? And that's one thing. Even Daniel, I was rolling with Daniel the other day and he has some sick chokes. Even when you try to pass or anything, you're because we've been working passing recently, which is why my ears are like getting mangled.
Pressure passing or something.
Yeah, pressure passing, stuff like that. My ears are hurt. Like it's funny. You notice when you're sleeping at night, you're like, ow. You're
on
like,
the pillow. Yeah.
I have to like lay on my back. My wife's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, my ears hurt. She's like, I'm not draining them. I'm like, yeah, you are. You got to. And so like I was trying to pass him and man, he sinks in these freaky little chokes, like these collar chokes and stuff. I'm like, oh, like I have to stop everything I'm doing and defend right away or he's got a choke in. And I'm like, dang, man, like I haven't rolled him like since I was hurt and he's already improved his chokes. And so if you're constantly giving up your secrets and you're improving, that's the kind of progress you're going to have. Is even though me and him have rolled together for a while now, he started a couple months after me. So he's very good. He's going to be a blue belt before too long. And his chokes are different. And so I was, probably being a little lazy, sneaking it, trying to sneak this pass in. And then I'm like, ooh, dang, this choke is upgraded, right? Like I had to be a lot more careful trying to sneak in there. I'm like, dang, he's got vicious chokes, man. Yeah. And then D's, man, he has this knee slice, like, man, he can pass like no other. And, he doesn't like, he's a lot stronger than his size would make you think, it's like, damn, he's strong. So I have to be careful with, how I approach him too. And me and him, we don't hide anything from each other. We're always sharing, stuff with each other and he's always helping me get better. And that's really what you want. Give everything up. Don't hold on to any secret. That card's not going to last. And I guarantee you go against a upper belt, they're going to rip that to shreds anyways. So it's not like you have some ace up your sleeve as it is anyways. So get it shredded, break it down to the foundation and rebuild over over.
Literally, that's how you freaking get really good, by telling people what you're doing. So you can find new ways around it. There's another example was, we were talking about collar chokes with Steve last week, and me and Steve were rolling, and I was watching this YouTube video on this collar choke from Half Guard, and it's pretty sick. I've seen a lot of them, but this one, like, you see something like, oh, that fits my shit right there, man. And so I used it on Steve, and forgive me, Steve, it fucking worked, and we don't tap each other that much, man. We're like stalemate. We fucking go at it, but there's rarely, and then so I'm like, oh, this shit works. Okay, good. And then I used it on Sonny the next night, last night, and he fought through it in a certain way. He stood up and he was fucking, his face was all red and shit, but he fucking stood up and I didn't know what. I'm like, okay, I had the choke in, but because of his body positioning, I couldn't finish it. So now, and that's just trying shit, but now you're like, okay, now what's the next step? How do I fucking stop him from doing that so I can finish the choke, and go ahead.
That is key, what you just said, because, the other day we're helping one of our training partners get ready for a super fight that he has coming up. And coach was talking about position over submission, and really hammering home how important position is. And what you're saying is like, yeah, this one worked on this, but the position, like the foundation of the choke is so much more important. And we've been working on arm bars and escaping the arm bar and that kind of stuff. And he was showing us how important, like when you work on an escape from an arm bar or a certain position, it also helps you improve your arm bar. Like it shows you how important your position is. Like you have to have the correct position or they're going to get out. Your arm bar is not strong. And it's a mindset thing, right? If there's no enemy within, nothing outside of me can harm me, right? And our mind, if we don't have the right mindset, if we're not improving our mind, we're not doing hard shit to challenge ourselves, getting in a cold shower or cold plunge or doing shit like stretching. I know everyone can be like, oh, fuck, I'm too tough to stretch. Fuck that. Go try it. You think you're real tough? Sit there in that sumo squat that I was doing the other day. I'm like about to cry. I'm like, this is terrible. I don't want to do this. Like my mind was not very strong. You know, you could act like your body's all tough, like a bodybuilder or something, but if you can't scratch your own ass because you're so tensed up, you got a problem there, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know, stop
Big
acting
time.
tough and go stretch. So there's ways to improve your mindset, which is like improving your position in jiu-jitsu. You gotta go for the correct position. And when that's solid, you're dominant. Like you're gonna dominate them. And that's what coach was saying is like what you want is like the slow, controlled, dominant arm bar, not the like fast, you know, snap it in real quick. He's like, man, once you get that position, you know it's over. Like there's no getting out of it. They're done. And then you lay back, you do everything you do step by step. That's a dominant armbar. Like that's position first, then submission. And it's like, wow, that's a whole different game. That's mindset. That's, you know, conditioned, like repetition, skill.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah. And that's part of the chess game. You know, that's what makes it so fun is trying to figure it out and trying to figure out and not only, well, yeah, you got to get the position, but you also have to, you can't telegraph, you know, you got to figure out how to get to the position without them stopping you because they know what you're doing, you know? So you know, it's just it's a chess game, man. It's fun. Shit is fun.
Yeah. And learning how to tie it to the reactions and knowing what the reaction is going to be when you do this move, you know, they're going to move away or come towards you or whatever the reaction is typically going to be. And you set up your next true position for that. It's like, that's how you start chaining things together. And when you roll these higher level blue belts, purple belts, and brown belts, and even the professor, you can, that's where their brain is functioning and coming from. They have the next position already set up. And like I said, like Ryan, I mean, dude, I couldn't stop what he was doing. I was, you know, and it was funny because I was making a joke because after we're done rolling, you know, coach was talking and he's like, did you see how the armbar was being set up and you kept the position? And I'm the guinea pig of this learning, you know, for Ryan, of course, because he was just mollywopping my ass like 3 seconds ago. And I was like doing like, we do like, you know, a little like sit-ups, crunches, all this stuff at the end of class just to kind of finish off class. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's what happened in the rule, Ryan. I was letting you work through that so you could get what coach was telling you. I was joking. I started laughing. They're all, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, yeah, totally. I was just doing that for your benefit. No worries. I was sarcastically making a joke because he was whooping my ass.
He's the brown belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. I was letting you work through that so you could, you know, do what professor was telling you.
It's so cool to see the levels, man. And, you know, just to know that it's just like you said earlier, it's just time on the mat. That's it. Yeah. With time on the mat, you'll be that good, you know? Yeah. And one other, this is rewinding a minute ago, but one of the topics that I've discussed prior is a lot of times strength, because and this is just a credit to D and his skill or his technique, because a lot of times little guys feel really strong. I don't know how much does D weigh? I don't want to say
around I think we competed at the similar weight class this last time, or he's one above, so 160.
Okay. Yeah. So, but a lot of times what feels like strength is just proper technique. You know what I mean? Because there's guys who feel super strong, but they're not going to be lifting shit a lot in the gym. And not that that's D, but I'm just saying like that's, you know, I think if you have good technique, you can feel strong. And a lot of times guys will blame that on strength, blame the fact that they're getting whooped on strength when they're just really getting out techniqued. You know what I mean? Because technique makes you feel strong as a motherfucker, you know? So anyhow, just a thought.
Yeah, I think for D, it's definitely technique. His passing is solid. Like the way he cuts through, you're like sometimes my brain's like, oh, come on. Like, how do I even stop that? You know? And then, and so it's just like, you know, when someone passes you with proper technique, you're like, ah, crap. Like, it's just like your brain goes, ah, man. All right, well, work out of this, you know, because you're already like, well, that sucked. But it's also like he has a strong mindset, you know, he's someone that's pushing himself daily. He's, you know, working hard outside the academy as well. Like I see when he's working out at home, he's doing things that are pushing himself so that when he's in the deep waters in our roles, his mindset is there to like push harder, not go, this is too hard or this is uncomfortable. He doesn't quit. He doesn't have a quitter's mindset as well. So that's what you want in training partners. strong technique and strong mindset.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know, iron sharpens iron. So
Exactly.
shout out to him. Definitely. But he is also physically strong as well. And so all those things combined make him a badass jiu-jitsu player. His passing game is, you know, it's just like, crap. Cause I work my close guard. So it's like, I got to get him in my close guard, and, you know, you got to work through some shit to get there most of the time.
Oh yeah.
You know? And he doesn't give you anything. So it's like, it can be uncomfortable trying to work towards close guard sometimes with guys that have strong technique and strong mindsets, which, you know, we feed off of each other and we grow each other to have that. So it only makes you better, and it makes your game better. So it's awesome. Yeah. It's well said, you know, your point about the technique and everything.
Yeah.
Because a small dude could take out a big dude if you have proper technique, and you got to roll with, we were talking about this the other day. A few of us, I don't know who it was, me and Josh and someone else, but man, rolling with, there's this guy they call Little Mike, which he's the opposite of that. He's like really big, you know, and rolling with him, it's like, whew, I got to like keep the space. I got to keep his forearm off my neck or he'll crush me, you know?
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He's like 200 something, you know, he's up there. And so he's twice my size, if not more, you know? And I say that kindly, like, I mean, that's a great thing. He's awesome to roll with, because it's really challenging to roll with a guy that size. It's like kind of scary.
Yeah. What's his size?
Laying on top of you, just smash.
Yeah.
Super heavyweight guy, you know?
Yeah. Big dudes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll crush you. So I'm like, oop, feet on the hips, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, you really got to work a certain game to survive that strategy, and that, you know, and he's really strong. You know, he goes the whole round. It's really cool. So he'll push you. You know, each training partner has a different way of pushing you, and a different, you know, you experience that. It's really cool.
Yeah. Big time. Yep. And the same with some of these little dudes, man. Like there's a couple of little blue belts I roll with, 130 and 120 something and 130, I think. And I'm 205, and they feel way fucking stronger than me. You know, they feel way stronger than me. And it's just because they've developed their technique so well, you know. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like one of these dudes he's 130 pounds. I cannot pass his fucking guard for anything. You know what I mean? I've never passed his fucking guard. I still haven't passed that shit, you know? And it's all technique, and it's 130-pound dude. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's jiu-jitsu,
there's a blue belt. Juicy is his nickname. That's what we call him. And he's a smaller dude, which I think he's going to have, my stepson Lincoln's going to have probably a similar frame to him. So I'm kind of excited because, dude, he's so solid technically, just so good. And even I rolled him last time. Now that I'm a blue belt, he kind of, you know, gave it to me a little like harder now. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. See, now I'm getting a better ass whooping from him. And because I think I could feel that he's just so smooth and so calm and so patient. He's going to be a really good, you know, higher belt as he progresses more and more, because so just pure technique, pure, you know, and it's just consistent, good. You give him an inch, boom, his knee's in and he's recovered his guard. You're like, oh, come on. Like I just got over here and now I got to start all over again. You know, he's one of those guys. It's just so frustrating because you'll finally get to a good position and then boop, it's gone. You're like, oh man, that's it. He recovered that fast. And it's just like, crap, you know? So the last roll we had was really good. He was, you know, it was a good roll. I was like, dang, man, he's got some skill. Like it's definitely the technique will win the day. So yeah, it makes a huge difference. He's a sound blue belt, really good technique.
Yeah. Right on, man.
The another thing that I got to experience the other day, which is kind of an outside perspective looking in, was kind of cool. It was Corrales. He brought his son in to train, and they have a kids class, and I posted a couple of stories about it, like the pictures of that Corrales took, and then also a picture of my professor teaching the kids class. Super cool to see, man, the impact he's having on those kids, and he's really good at it. You know, the black belt is really good to teach the kids. He does a great job, and it's awesome to see. And I got to see him bring his son for the first day. Yeah. And you could just see the joy that was on his face. Like he was so happy and, you know, a little nervous. It was just like a good mixture of emotions where he's like, man, like you could tell like he really like was excited about his son getting to go and train. And his son had a great time and did a great job too. And I was like, dang, this is exciting to see, like being able to share that with someone, you know, like your son or someone you love. There's something special, man. There's something special about it. And especially kids training, learning that discipline, learning how to fall down and get back up, not only technically like in jiu-jitsu, but mentally. Like it's okay to fail. Like it's okay to struggle. It's okay to progress slowly and learn day by day and get a little bit better every day. Like kids learning that is super important. They're not going to get caught up in the school system bullshit of like, oh, if you're not 100% A student, then you're not valuable. You're not caught in that mindset. Like it's really exciting to see. So that was just another thing I wanted to pick up and highlight.
It's huge, man.
Classes are important.
No, yeah. If you have kids, man, I highly recommend you put them in jiu-jitsu, you know, just because everything we're talking about and everything it does for your life. When I remember we got my oldest daughter started first, you know, she started wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And I think when she was in 4th grade, and she was pretty timid prior to that. And after doing wrestling and jiu-jitsu, man, her confidence level just like started skyrocketing. She was competing in wrestling and in Clovis, man, where there's like, you know, she literally had to wrestle in 4th grade against like a state champion over there, this little dude who was a state champion wrestler. And he fucking dumped her on her head, dumped her on her fucking head, bro. It was rough to watch. But she also was like, dude, I got videos up of her on YouTube, like fucking these hard fights, man, beating these little boys her age and shit. And just to see that now, and she turned 16, she got her blue belt. And then my other daughter started to, like, you know, probably the same age, about 4. And she was so pumped to go get in there with, it was a dethrone in Fresno where she started to get in there. I have video of her with her. She had her hair curled and shit. She was all happy, like 4 years old. And now, you know, being 16 years old and a blue belt, like there's not many 16-year-olds who are going to fuck with her. You know what I mean? Like if it comes down to it, bro, she's good. She's been fucking competing her whole life. Like if someone were to, first of all, they put off confidence, right? You start doing jiu-jitsu that long, they put off an air of confidence where they're not going to get fucked with. But then if they do, you are for a rough fucking day. If you know what I mean, if you're a 16-year-old, I go to her, I pick her up from school over there at the high school, and I'm looking around and I'm like, other than the kids that wrestle, who still, I don't know, but like these high school boys, I'm like, she'll beat the fuck out of every high school boy I'm looking at walking by. This motherfucker, she will just wipe the fucking floor with these motherfuckers, you know? And that's what you want, you know? So
that's a dad focus for sure. Like, oh yeah, she'd whoop his ass. Like,
it's funny if I'm looking, it's literal though, because you know, like a blue belt in jiu-jitsu who's been doing jiu-jitsu 10 years against a boy who's never been in a fight, fuck, it's double leg fucking choke out city right away, you know? And she'll smash too, you know what I mean? So and then it's cool, like you wrestle with them, like the little one, you wrestle, like she, you know, you're just fucking around and you wrestle, you try to like tickle her, and she like fucking puts her fucking guard, she starts playing open guard and shit, and you're like, fuck, I can't even get a tickle in, your fucking guard is too good, motherfucker, you know? So just don't, and also to the parents, you know, don't push your kids too hard either, you know, into something like that, because you also get the parents out there who are like fucking, a lot of the jiu-jitsu parents are so competitive. You know, I don't know how it is at your gym, but the gym they go to, the parents can't talk during, at Gracie South Bay, the parents can't talk. You get kicked out right away if you talk while the kids are rolling, because, you know, the parents, first of all, most of the parents don't do jiu-jitsu, and they're over here coaching their kid during the rolls and getting mad at them and shit, you know? And you take the fun away when you do that type of shit, or when you try to live your dreams through your fucking kids or whatever it may be. So also, if your kids are training, fuck, get your ass in there and train too. You know, if you're having your kids go in there and fight every night, you should be doing it too, you know? So that's just my perspective on it.
That's a powerful perspective. And I'm glad you said that, because that's where I was going to go next, is bring up the fact that it's hard to watch your kids struggle. It's an ego thing, or there's something to it where I've grown, because I've even caught myself like wanting to sneak across the mat and help him, like, nope, put your leg here or whatever. And it's like, oh, it just eats at you. You're like, come on, you don't want them to suffer. You don't want them to struggle. You don't want them to, you know, fail or whatever. There's something to, like, as a parent and as someone that has been a kid that struggled, or I don't know, there's something that can go deeper into like the mindset it's something valuable with having to watch your kid progress and learn at his pace, his way, you know, and you keeping yourself out of it. Because I know that is a way we try to protect our kids, but we're causing harm. We're not helping them if we do that, you know, and that's what I love. Like, because Lincoln, man, I just need to stay out of the way. That kid is solid. He's a great kid. You know, he pops up no matter what. If he wins, taps, whatever, he's got a giant smile on his. And I'm like, okay, do not take that from him. Hold on to that. Hold that as sacred. Every day I tell, what's the number one rule? What's the number one rule? Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. That's it. That's what we're here to do. Have fun. You know, we're not here to try to be like tougher or meaner or none of that. We're here to have fun. And I just try to hold sacred to that. And my ego gets in the way at times, but I'm like, oh, I need to correct that when we get home. Oh, I need to do this when we get home. It's like, don't do it. Like, let him struggle. Let him be awkward. Let him, you know, do the warm-ups weird. And hey, I did it. I sucked for like a month or two. And there's things I still suck at, you know, so be it. Let him feel that. It's okay. Like, he's safe, you know?
Yeah. So, you gotta let him struggle.
I encourage the parents to let go a little. Let go. Don't let your ego or any of the competitiveness get into that, because you're going to take away first and foremost the fun.
And then they're not going to want to do it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, the longevity of like how much time I want him to, man, you give him another 5-6 years and he'll be mopping me on the mats, you know, like he'll be tearing me up. He's good. Yeah. And so I'm like, nope, let it be fun, man. The longer I let it be fun, the better he'll get. So I'm just trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, man. That's just encourage. That's it. You did great today. You're doing great. That was awesome. Keep it up. Was it fun? Good. This is going to do so much for you in your life. Just keep it up. This is awesome. I'm proud of you, you know, and instead of, you know, well, why didn't you, you know, why did you let that kid armbar you? He's not that good. You know, why'd you let so-and-so smash you like that? You know what I mean? There's parents that do that. They get in the car right when they get in the car, you know, they're walking out. Good job, buddy. They get in the car. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that, Ronald? Why did you let Chet choke you? The fuck is going on? When we get home, we're drilling. But Dad, you don't even do jujitsu. No, we're gonna fucking drill choke defense. You know, there's parents like that. You know, so it takes away. You know, even like my kid's mom. I mean, I'm not gonna go deep into that, but she's like a competitive brown belt. Like, she's in Miami right now, fucking doing like a tournament, and she competes all the time. She's really freaking good, man. And she's a stickler, but she's a coach. I mean, she has a little bit of wiggle room, but she watches them and she's like, same thing, but she actually can give fucking good advice. You know, the advice is good, but at the same time, the kids don't, especially the younger ones, they don't want to hear like, I could have done this, I could have done that. Unless they ask, just tell them how good they're doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And also competitions. You don't want to put a kid in competition unless they're asking to do a competition, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how many listeners have kids, but you don't make them go fight unless they're asking you, you know, if they want to.
Their struggles aren't a reflection of your reputation or whatever. Just disconnect the two, right? Stop projecting onto your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called parenting for a reason. We're the motherfuckers that need to work on ourselves. It's not childrening. They got shit figured out. Dude, that boy is smiling all the damn time. Yeah. You know, he's happy. He's having fun. He brings fruit snacks for coach. He's loving it, having a great time. And he's being a goofball and stuff like that. I can learn from him. It's not the other way around. Let's not get shit twisted. Like, we're trying to learn how to be more childish as we play jujitsu, right? Yep. Let's get our shit straight here. Stop trying to change the kids into you. Like, we already got one of you motherfuckers. We don't need another one just like you running around like being an asshole, flipping people off in traffic. We don't need more of that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
We need happy people that are childish and like, hey, you know, no big deal. You know, we cut each other off. Sorry, man. Love you. Like, let's go on our way. Yeah. And that's what you need in jiu-jitsu too. We don't need, oh, well, you beat that kid. He's 5 and you got an arm bar. Like, who cares? Like, they're here to grow and they're in good hands with these professors, these black belts. Man, he's teaching them a lot, and it's an honor to be able to have that role model in his life, and super grateful. Yeah, so I'm just trying to stay out of the goddamn way.
Yeah,
trying not to fuck shit up here.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, I could see if he comes to you and he's like, "Hey, how could I have done that better on that choke?" And you're like, "Well, from my level of understanding, here's what you could have done. You know, coach can probably tell you better, but here's what I know." You know,
yep. and he's a sponge, you know, and it's a game for him. And dude, the other day I was sitting there and he came up behind me And I had to tell him because he's actually getting very good. Like coach is like thinking about him competing soon. So he sunk in a rear naked choke on me the other day. And I was like, it kind of jolted me because it was so tight. I'm like, oh, geez. Like that was a 5-year-old sinking in a choke. And I'm like, whoa, I tapped. I'm like, bro, like, holy crap. That was a good choke, bro. And I'm like, all right, you got to be careful with your chokes because you're actually really good. So don't be like, I know me and you play, but don't do that to the girls or anything.
Don't do that to your sister.
They don't do jiu-jitsu like we do. So like I felt that and I was like, ooh, I was excited, but other people be like, like they'd be scared, it's like, don't do that just to your friends or some shit, that we get the call from school, like, he choked out Johnny or whatever. It's like, oh shit, sorry. Like, we don't do that. We train with coach and coach, keeps an eye on us when we do it, but solid. And so sometimes he'll be like, hey, well, what about this? Like, do I put my knee here? And I'll, okay, cool. Yeah, let's try it. And I'll let him try it on me. And that helps. And he goes to class, but he's always listening to coach. And if he has a question to me, I'm just saying, oh, okay, playing around. Don't take it serious. Don't train for 3 hours at home. He's 5. You know what I mean? Like, give him a break. Like, their attention span's like the fucking of a gnat. So the fact that they're growing and progressing under the tutelage of a black belt, that's right where they need to be. Stop trying to be fucking, some world-class like jiu-jitsu parent or something. I don't even know what the fuck that would look like. You're eating acai bowls and screaming at your kids, making them cry. Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not training.
You learn like 3 words in Portuguese. How do you say that? Portuguese. Just to fucking yell shit at the tournament and look cool. Like, stop it, motherfucker. I always hated that. My daughter competed in gymnastics, and I promised myself if I ever saw her get up off the mats bawling and just in distraught because she messed up or something, I'm like, I'm failing as a parent. She never did. She always got off smiling, and that's what I wanted. But there was kids that would just walk off and just horrid tears because they
have to face their parents.
And I'm like, why would you do? And those same parents would go up to him like, oh, come on. And they were rude to him while they're bawling. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not what we want, And so same thing with jiu-jitsu. You don't do that to your kids. You let them be kids, man.
Yeah.
Get your ego out of it.
Yeah, man.
Or go in there and get choked, because you need to get choked if you're doing that to your fucking kid.
Yeah. Yep. That, I was thinking while you were talking right now, I just thought of this one little quick story of when the older one who was wrestling, when she was younger, she's probably like right like 5th grade. She'd already been competing for a little bit. And the neighbor girl, so she was in skates, and the neighbor girl was like, she's skating around, and the neighbor girl, who's like a year older, a little bigger too, was like throwing this, those balls you get at Target, like those big round rubber balls, and you always grab it and just bounce it through the store and shit. She kept throwing it at my daughter, and she was throwing it at her, and I could tell, you can tell when your kid's getting pissed, and like, but she's trying to skate, and the girl keeps throwing it at her head. And so she just snapped, and she like skated over to her and fucking double legged her into the bushes and shit. Like, fuck, that was awesome. That was fucking awesome. She just used her wrestling, Well, I mean, and she's never snapped since then, but I thought it was cool that she didn't just go over there and pull her hair or slap her or say, leave me alone, or run away. She just like skated right toward her and double legged her right into the bushes, man. That girl never threw a ball at her again.
Hey, jiu-jitsu is humbling, man. It's humbling. Whether you're on the receiving end of something, you're like, well, on you got me there. Wow, I'm gonna back up.
Yeah.
It's humbling. It's good. It's healthy.
Yeah, and it gives you fucking it gives you confidence, man. I got one other story I got to tell regarding the kids doing jiu-jitsu, since we're on the topic. When we first when the older one, and now this is going into 6th grade, so like 2 years of competition. By then she had won worlds as a 5th grader, world champion fucking jiu-jitsu player and shit. And so she's confident as a motherfucker. And we moved to Kauai, and there's a lot of stories about bullying on Kauai, especially bullying kids from the mainland if you're going to a local school. So a lot of people put their kids in private schools because they're scared of reality, and I didn't do that. I put my kids into local schools so they could be within the culture. But and the kids, there's some big ass kids there too. So we're talking about it on the way to the first week before she got used to it. And we never had that problem because they're good kids, But we were going to school, and she was like, I was asking her, I always ask her, anybody try to bully you? What's going on? How's school going? You know, she's like, no, dad, no one's going to try to bully me, but the kids are big. And I'm like, well, you know, don't get in any fights or anything. Like if anyone messes with you, you know, she's like, well, when do I defend myself? How do I get in like, you know, when can I defend myself? I'm like, well, I mean, no, I told her, I was like, if anybody tries to punch you or anything like that, that's when you hit that fucking, that blast double. That's when you double legged and you control them on the ground until a teacher comes. If someone tries to hit you or anything. And she's like, well, she's quiet for a minute. And she's like, I hope someone tries to hit me. I'm like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. She just wanted to fucking double leg someone and fuck them up. You know, she's not looking for fights, but she just has that in her. Like if one of these motherfuckers tries to hit me, they're getting fucked up, you know? And this is a 6th grade little girl. And, you know, I like that. I like her having that. I like my daughters having that confidence, you know, like I know as a parent, because they've been training jujitsu, putting them out in life, they're fine, man. You know what I mean? They're fine because most people don't have that warrior mindset. Most people aren't fighting every day, you know? And so we're creating little fucking soldiers to put out into the world, you know, who are successful in all areas of life.
Yeah. And humble and not troublemakers and bully. Yeah. And that goes at, you know, rivalry. They went down. A lot of the kids competed this last weekend and won gold and silver and everything. They did really well. So they dominated. So shout out to like Bella and Valentina and all of them that competed. Well done, you know, and Professor, he got them all ready. And you could see like there's another level of enjoyment when he takes those, you know, he's training the kids because he's a great black belt, but he's even a better like dad and role model for kids. He's fantastic, man. Yeah. So you can see like he has like this like glint in his eyes as he's like taking pictures with them and sharing them. I'm like, oh hell yeah, like he's having fun. Yeah. And he even posted one like saying, I love what I do. You know, I'm like, yes, like that's powerful.
I saw him, the one he put on his story where he was like kind of squatted down or whatever, like in a gangster pose. And he had that Scarface song, Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster playing. Yeah. That was pretty funny.
It's so cool because he has this good blend of like personality and just, he has a good impact on the kids. That dude, he could sit down and chat with the kids and they're all engaged and they're all happy and joking and having fun. And just hearing the stuff they talk about makes me laugh as I'm sitting there because, you know, we're listening. It's just, he's awesome, man.
Sometimes I see hearts in your eyes when you talk about Victor. I see like hearts. Hey, I want to play love music and shit.
I'm honored to be able to brag about
like I feel like you're going to put your hand on your fucking chin and like look up at the sky like this and just start to, you know, Victor's so great. He's good with everybody, you know, but I get it, man. And, I've seen that from all jiu-jitsu professors, you know, so I just, that what you're saying there kind of goes across the board is, you know, a professor in jiu-jitsu usually has acquired those type of skills by that time in their progress, you know what I mean? And they're really good with people and you have to be, you know, especially, and we're talking about the black belts who decide to open up their own gym and they love jiu-jitsu that much that they want to share it. They're that type of person, you know what I mean? They're the type of person who they're just great people, great role models, you know?
Yep. I'm
just fucking with you.
I'm shameless in my plugs for my professor. So, and it's very sincere. I'm not saying it to get accolades from him or anything. It's very sincere. He's added immense value in my life and I'm just sharing authentically how I feel and what I see. And, very blessed to have someone to brag about like that in my life. And I think my second favorite jiu-jitsu black belt is this Chris Matakas now. So I got another guy to brag about all the time. And dude, I'm shameless with my bragging now because I'm like, dude, if you're adding value in my life, just like I talk about you and your videos and the artistic stuff you do.
Yeah,
I don't hold back, you know, and I know that can make some people uncomfortable. And if it does, that you need to work on your shit. That's not me, dude. I'm going to tell you, I'm like, hell, you're a badass. Like I text you that shit all the time. Like even the video you sent me about your half guard. I'm like, dude, your game is looking solid. You know, like you can tell when someone's herky jerky, kind of nervous, or when someone's like developing, like there's like a flow, you know? And I'm like, hey, it's looking good, man. Like it really is. And so I'm shameless with my compliments when It doesn't bother me. It doesn't offend me when even if someone doesn't receive it well, I'm like, hey, I don't care. That's the value I see. I'm not going to hold it back. I'm going to express it.
No, it's good. It's good to, it's good. I'm just talking shit, man. Cause I literally see hearts in your eyes when you talk about Victor, man. So like we could rewind it. I think we should rewind. If someday we're going to get some kid to go through all our episodes, just the portions where you talk about Victor, and then we're going to play some fucking like really, really romantic music and shit.
Hey, it's a bromance.
I just, and you know, like I said, I feel that way. I think everyone feels that way about their professor. You know what I mean? I think everybody feels that way about the person they're learning from. So, I mean, it's fine. You're just expressing it more loudly, and I'm just talking shit. But since we're talking about that, you know, I don't express that much through here, but I think I told you, you know, that I was my professor, Mike Kusi. He reminds me of like one of these senseis from an 80s movie and shit, where he's just like this, you know, really, really fucking technical motherfucker, you know, and he knows jujitsu so well, but he's humble, like any professor, you know. Well, I wouldn't say any, but like he's a really humble dude, doesn't brag about his past and shit. But one of my purple belts, not my purple belts, one of our purple belts, one of our purple belts was telling me about like some sick shit that Mike was doing on a YouTube video on one of his competitions. And he's like, dude, look up some of his competitions. And I was looking up some of his like adult black belt competitions, and he was a fucking beast, man. He was freaking beasting it, you know, when he was competing. He doesn't compete really that much now, but yeah, if any of you guys, especially like the stronghold guys who are listening to this, you should definitely go check out Mike Kusi on YouTube, because he had some good battles, man. He had a good battle with Jeff Glover, and he was just tapping the shit out of some of these black belts, you know. And but you wouldn't know it, you know, because he's not sharing that shit. He doesn't put it up on his fucking timelines and shit, you know. He doesn't talk about it. You just see the skills that he's acquired from that time, you know, that all the time that he's put in. But yeah, shout out to Mike for sure. So that's it. I just want to give him some props, since you had like a speech for Victor right there. Your weekly Victor speech.
That's right. I'll have to do clips and do like a highlight reel of like the 37 times I've mentioned him or whatever.
I would do it if that would be hilarious if I could find the time to do that, and just have like a pink filter with like like some romantic music playing.
He's gonna be talking. Like, I'll be going to train. He'll be like staying away from me in class, and be like, bro, what's up? Like, you secretly sent him that clip. Like, I think he's in love with you. Like, it was funny because my wife would give me a hard time because I was telling her about that Chris Matakas. I'm like, oh, this guy's the best. Like, I was just like, you know,
pumped about it. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, great, here comes another bromance. You know, I was like, hey, I could. What are you, jealous? Like, I could brag. And so, but dude, hey, if I see value, I share it. Like,
no, that's good.
I love it. So,
and actually, Matakas he does. I think we talked about it, but he does coaching, I think, outside of jiu-jitsu as well, like the same type of coaching you do.
Yeah.
So he's
cool.
Definitely a role model, man, to connect with, and
mentor.
We'll get him on here. A mentor, a good mentor, man. So, and look at jiu-jitsu as, I mean, we're going to connect with him soon, and I'm sure we'll get him on here, and jiu-jitsu is bringing awesome people around.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. Like, I feel like it's bringing me so much value that it's almost like it pales in comparison, because I'm trying to add value back. I just don't know how to, like, a thank you isn't enough. I'm trying to find more ways to add more value to what's coming into my life from my professor, from Rivalry Jiu-Jitsu, from that Chris Matakas, all the value he's putting out. It's like, dang it, even bragging about him on this podcast isn't enough yet, you know?
Yeah.
But it's something. It's at least 1 inch in that direction. So, hey, whatever we can do to keep building and pushing in that direction, you know?
Yep.
It's a big thank you is all this. So I'm just grateful.
Yep. A lot of gratitude. So,
but that's all the stuff I wanted to talk about today. I don't know if you got anything else. I think we covered it.
I think we're good. I think we're good for now, man. I'm gonna go and do some grocery shopping, and I might go train. Might go train tonight. We'll see. I think
dude, I need to screw my head back on from these. But Chet was, dude, he is so good. He's such a good, like, competitive blue belt, you know? And it was cool to see like him turn it up. Like, he's just so good. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, cause that always excites me, because I'm like, someday I'm going to be this good. I hope, you know, like, I'm going to work towards that.
Yeah.
So I like getting my butt kicked. It's a valuable thing.
Yeah. Yep. It's just a matter of staying freaking healthy enough to keep getting it, you know?
Hey, that's that mental edge, right? There's building your mindset, making you stronger. And then there's like not taking care of yourself when you're actually injured. And we need to make sure we keep pushing that and take care of each other, you know, reach out to the people that are injured. Cause some of that injury might be like they're, you know, internal, like, man, the guys don't care if I'm there. Like, they need encouragement maybe, but a lot of it is physical injury, and they need encouragement through that too. We all struggle, you know, so let's encourage each other through those injuries, you know. Yeah. I was there for you when you're injured, and maybe I bragged about jiu-jitsu too much when you're injured. I don't know, but I was trying to compete when you're injured. So I was training a ton, and it's probably like driving you nuts, but
yeah, it was.
You've helped me through my injury too. So
yeah. Yep. That's what it's about. So, right on. I think we'll be good for this week.
Yeah. So, it was a good bromance episode.
Yeah, it was.
Don't tell Victor. Don't tell Victor instead. Hey, I pump up all my partners. I pump up D all the time, which that's going to be really cool to get him on there. I told him that yesterday. I'm like, dude, I talk about you all the time. I got to get you on there so everyone knows who I'm talking about. You know, I'm always bragging about D, so I got to get him on there.
Yep.
And so he can chat with us, and you can meet and kind of get a vibe from him. You know, I was excited to be able to do that from Steve. It made me proud. I'm like, hell yeah, that's a good training partner. I'm glad you guys are training together now that I got to meet him. You know, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. So, it's cool to connect. I think on your blank wall right there, you should just get a close up framed picture of Victor's face smiling. That's it. Not in his gi or anything. Just like his face.
I draw a heart,
just smiling,
like lipstick. I love my professor. What can I say? So be it.
But yeah, man. So I think we're good. We good?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's call it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be back. That's episode number 20 in the books, man. That's a milestone. So let's keep it going, man. And get some of these guests on here. Leave a review. Check out our Instagram page at soulrollers_JJ. And just keep training and hit us up if you have any questions, man.
And remember to, if you take a picture of your academy, post something on social media, tag us in it, you know, soulrollers_JJ, and we'll post it on our Instagram page as well. We want to share jiu-jitsu with the world, man. So let's bring this community. Let's bring this idea, this ideal, you know, that Chris Matakas is representing, and our professors represent, like that soul roller, right? That's what we're wanting to cultivate in this, you know, community.
Yep.
Let's share it.
Right on. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for listening. And
all right, brother.
All right, William. I'll talk to you later on, man.
All right. Love you, man.
Take care. Love you, bro. Peace.